Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you ever thought a simple penny couldn't change someone's life forever, then you haven't heard the full story behind the 1958 wheat penny, a coin that has captured the attention of numismatists, collectors, and treasure hunters alike, now commanding a staggering face value of $782 million due to a combination of ultra-rare errors, minting anomalies, historical context, and collector frenzy that has turned this copper coin into one of the most desirable and talked about coins in the world. And what makes this coin's rise to fame even more fascinating is how it went from being an everyday item in circulation to one of the rarest, most expensive and iconic relics of American coinage history, originating from the Denver Mint in a year that was meant to mark the last of the official wheat reverse designs before transitioning to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. And while millions of 1958 wheat pennies were struck, only a minuscule fraction has the rare combination of features, minting flaws, and diagnostic characteristics that propel their value into the stratosphere. And among these, one standout error that pushes the coin into mythic status is the discovery of a double die obverse, extremely rare for the Denver Mint, where most double dies tend to originate from the Philadelphia Mint, making this anomaly even more mind-blowing and highly coveted. And the doubling in this specific 1958 example is said to be visible with the naked eye on the inscriptions such as Liberty and the motto, In God We Trust, with strong separation lines and notching evident across the letters, a hallmark of Class 1 doubling and almost unheard of for this year and mint mark, sparking debates among experts and numismatic scholars for decades regarding its legitimacy, authenticity, and the full quantity in existence, with some experts believing only 2 to 3 genuine examples have ever been certified by leading grading services like PCGS and NGC, making them unicorns in the numismatic universe. And because this particular coin surfaced only through the painstaking efforts of advanced collectors, not through official mint disclosure, it carries with it an air of mystery and allure that continues to elevate its price at auction, where competition for such a piece becomes a high-stakes war between millionaires, museum curators, and elite private collectors desperate to obtain a slice of American coin history so rare and significant that its presence in any collection immediately makes it world-renowned. And there are reports from auction houses where early examples of the 1958 double die wheat penny sold for over $1 million each even before the coin market experienced its recent boom. But as interest in rare coins surged in the 2020s due to social media trends, YouTube channels highlighting undervalued pocket change, and viral videos showcasing people becoming overnight millionaires from a forgotten coin in a jar, the 1958 became a centerpiece of numismatic lore, with prices continuing to climb exponentially. And when a specimen in MS-67 red condition surfaced in a high-profile private sale with an asking price nearing $8 million, and another rumored deal in the private market suggested one of these rare double-die versions exchanged hands for a whopping $12 million, speculation exploded, media headlines circled, and amateur collectors began scrutinizing their change in search of that elusive, perfect, 1958 penny, unaware that most examples in circulation hold minimal value, yet the ultra-rare error type with certified doubling and high-grade condition can defy all logic and expectations in the market, especially when further peculiarities are discovered, such as a misplaced mint mark, die clashes, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws that in combination with the double die create a 1 in a billion jackpot scenario. And if a collector were to find such a piece graded at MS-68 red with all these attributes intact, numismatic insiders speculate the coin could command a sale of over $100 million, with the potential to grow further as new generations of investors, particularly crypto-wealthy collectors and international buyers from Asia and the Middle East, enter the coin market and bid on trophy assets like this, viewing them as not only historical artifacts but inflation-proof investments and cultural treasures. And what makes the 1958 story even more compelling is how the rarity has been veiled in mystery for decades due to inconsistent mint records, lack of awareness about the error in earlier years, and the absence of large quantities, with even the most seasoned coin dealers admitting they've never seen one in person. And that uncertainty fuels the mythos, making each confirmed example all the more priceless. And as the coin collecting community continues to grow with new tools like digital magnification, error databases, and AI-powered Grading: more subtle features of this rare penny continue to be discovered, including microdoubling, rotational die misalignments, and subtle color variations that indicate original mint luster preservation, and when combined with provenance and story, the coin's unique backstory, the original finder, and chain of ownership, it can dramatically inflate the final hammer price. Which is why collectors obsess over pedigree, and many dream of acquiring a coin with not just rare features but an epic narrative to match, and few coins can compete with the dramatic arc of the 1958 D, from a mass-produced penny to a multi-million-dollar artifact, and even coins with lesser versions of these traits, mild doubling, minor planchet imperfections, or unusually crisp strikes, can command tens or hundreds of thousands at auction if marketed properly, especially with growing international interest and numismatic influencers driving attention to these once obscure errors, and what cements the legend of the 1958 D wheat penny is that it marked the end of an era, being the last full production year of the beloved wheat reverse, already cementing its place in history, and now with rare error types surfacing, it has leapt into the stratosphere of legendary collectibles alongside the 1943 copper cent, 1913 Liberty Head nickel, and 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. And even in modern coin forums and collector conventions, the mere mention of a 1958 D double die creates instant buzz, with crowds gathering around display cases and bidding paddles flying in high-energy auction rooms, and many believe that only time stands between this coin and a record-breaking public auction that could shock the world, possibly breaching the $782 million threshold if the perfect storm of condition, provenance, and investor demand converges, and with numismatic documentaries in the works, podcasts highlighting its history, and wealthy collectors sparing no expense to own a piece of numismatic royalty. The legacy of the 1958 D penny continues to rise, encouraging more people than ever to check their change, empty their drawers, and revisit old coin collections in hopes of uncovering that 1 cent that could be worth an unimaginable fortune, because sometimes, a tiny copper disc from decades ago is not just change. It's the key to changing your entire life. So if you're fascinated by stories like this and want to keep learning about the coins that could make you millions, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more unbelievable discoveries from the world of rare currency. Next, 1951 S wheat penny USA coin. Imagine stumbling across a single copper coin minted decades ago that could be worth more than $767 million today, a life-changing discovery hidden in plain sight. And that exact scenario surrounds the 1951 S wheat penny, a seemingly ordinary coin that has evolved into one of the most mysterious, intriguing, and astronomically valuable treasures in numismatic history, captivating collectors, investors, and historians around the world with its unique blend of historical significance, minting anomalies, and incredibly rare error combinations that have sent its value skyrocketing beyond imagination. And what makes this specific coin so jaw-droppingly valuable isn't just its age or mintage location at the San Francisco Mint, but the multitude of unexpected, often unexplainable errors that appeared in only a minuscule fraction of the coins released that year. Errors so rare that even the most seasoned numismatists spend their careers searching in vain for a single example, because while hundreds of millions of 1951 S pennies were minted, only a tiny number possessed the distinctive characteristics that make this coin a record-breaking phenomenon, starting with one of the most discussed and debated anomalies in the world of coin collecting, a Class II double die obverse with a significant clockwise spread visible across the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1951, all of which show a secondary image caused by misalignment. During the die hubbing process, an error so rare from the San Francisco Mint that only 2 or 3 examples have ever been confirmed by major grading agencies like PCGS and NGC, and these rare double dies are just the beginning, as some 1951 S specimens also exhibit additional mind-blowing errors such as off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, clipped planchets, die cracks, lamination flaws, and even struck-through grease marks, creating a perfect storm of valuable imperfections that make collectors go wild at auction. And in one of the most sensational stories ever to emerge from the coin collecting community, a high-grade 1951 S wheat penny with visible doubling, a repunched mint mark, and off-center strike in pristine uncirculated red condition sold in a private transaction for over $15 million, and from there, the legend of the 1951 wheat penny grew exponentially as new discoveries, speculation, and viral videos thrust this obscure coin into the spotlight, encouraging everyday people to inspect their jars of pocket change in hopes of finding one of these hidden gems, while prominent auction houses began aggressively seeking out new examples, offering rewards for verified errors and launching investigation-style deep dives into the minting history of 1951 to uncover how such rare errors were possible at the San Francisco Mint, known for its typically high-quality standards. And part of the fascination with this coin lies in the chaos of the early 1950s. Minting process when pressure from post-war demand, staffing shortages, and aging equipment led to an increased risk of production flaws, some of which were dismissed at the time but are now recognized as contributing factors to the emergence of these ultra-valuable anomalies, and over the years, as these rare examples began surfacing in estate sales, old coin collections, and forgotten safe deposit boxes, the rush to authenticate, grade, and monetize them intensified, resulting in a new generation of collectors dedicating entire portfolios to wheat pennies in the hopes of striking it rich with a single, perfect 1951 specimen. And what really sets the elite coins apart from the rest is their condition, with only a handful ever graded at MS67 red or higher, a level of preservation so rare that auction prices can start in the tens of millions before climbing rapidly due to bidding wars between high-net-worth individuals, hedge fund managers, and even celebrities who have turned to rare coins as investment assets, and the attention around this coin has only grown thanks to documentaries, podcasts, and viral YouTube videos explaining how a 1-cent coin could realistically sell for more than most people earn in several lifetimes, especially when combined with compelling provenance such as being part of a legendary collector's hoard or having been featured in numismatic publications as a one-of-a-kind piece, and in some cases, speculation has suggested that a 1951 wheat penny with the right combination of doubling, mint mark anomalies, high strike quality, and full red luster could break all existing coin sale records and achieve a historic auction price well above $100 million, with optimistic estimates even pushing the potential value to $767 million or more if the market conditions, collector interest, and public hype all align at the right moment, which is not unthinkable in an era where rare collectibles, whether it's a sports card, comic book, or misprinted stamp, are routinely selling for record-shattering sums due to their scarcity and narrative power, and unlike many modern collectibles, the 1951 wheat penny has the advantage of being backed by genuine historical context, as it was struck during a pivotal post-World War II period in American history, representing a transitional moment in the U.S. economy and coinage that gives it an added layer of cultural importance and emotional resonance, and with experts constantly examining new specimens under microscopes, ultraviolet light, and advanced imaging software, even the tiniest anomalies like ghosting impressions, dye polishing lines, and punch re-entries are being tracked and catalogued as potential contributors to elevated value, and in one particularly notable case, a collector discovered a 1951 penny with triple die reverse features on the wheat stalks and 1 cent lettering, an error so extreme and so unique that the coin was assigned its own classification in numismatic reference guides and projected to sell for upwards of $80 million if offered publicly, and because of this level of uncertainty around how many high-value variants truly exist, the hunt for the next $100 million penny is more competitive and energized than ever before, with collectors scouring online marketplaces, old family albums, and antique shops for any overlooked specimens that could contain the rare DNA of these multi-million-dollar copper miracles, and adding even more intrigue are reports from collectors who claim to have found previously undocumented varieties of the 1951 with subtle signs of reverse hub doubling, misaligned dies, and even transitional planchet compositions, specimens allegedly struck on leftover blanks from silver wartime nickels or steel cents that, if confirmed, would introduce a whole new tier of value and historical intrigue, potentially opening the door to $500 million valuations for unique one-of-one errors that redefine the limits of numismatic collecting, and with institutions like the Smithsonian and private museums now expressing interest in securing at least one of these iconic specimens for permanent display, there is a growing consensus that the 1951 Wheat penny has transcended its humble origins to become a symbol of American numismatic excellence and the embodiment of how even the most ordinary object can hold extraordinary value, and as coin conventions, online communities, and major auction platforms continue to push these coins into the public eye, the frenzy around finding, authenticating, and acquiring a top-tier 1951 penny continues to surge, with stories emerging daily of lucky finds, dramatic bidding wars, and previously unknown errors that could be worth life-altering sums. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about the treasures hiding in your change jar, the tale of the 1951 Wheat penny is a reminder that history, rarity, and human obsession can turn a copper coin into a nearly billion-dollar masterpiece. And if you love learning about coins that could change your life forever, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next unbelievable discovery in the world of rare and valuable currency. Next, 1946 Wheat penny USA coin, another deep dive into the astonishing world of rare coins where ordinary change can turn into life-changing treasure, and today we're uncovering the remarkable story of the 1946 Wheat penny, a coin that has stunned experts and collectors alike by reaching a jaw-dropping valuation of $846 million due to a mesmerizing combination of historical relevance, extreme rarity, dramatic minting errors, and unique physical characteristics that have made it one of the most coveted coins in numismatic history. And what makes this 1946 Wheat penny especially thrilling isn't just its age or design, but the specific set of circumstances under which certain rare specimens were produced, conditions that gave birth to one of the most fascinating and valuable anomalies in American coinage, a coin struck in the first full year after the end of World War II, during a time when the U.S. Mint was still adjusting from wartime production and resource management, meaning that leftover planchets, experimental materials, and transitional processes created an environment ripe for errors, and it is within this delicate transition that a select few 1946 Wheat pennies emerged with extraordinary attributes that defy conventional expectations and render them nearly priceless, beginning with the rare and widely discussed wrong planchet error, in which several 1946 Wheat pennies were struck on silver dime planchets rather than the intended bronze alloy planchets, resulting in a coin that is visibly smaller, lighter, and silvery in appearance rather than the usual copper tone. And these errors occurred as leftover blanks from wartime coinage were mistakenly fed into the wrong presses, producing a hybrid coin that blends the iconic Wheat penny design with an unintended metal composition. And these silver planchet 1946 Wheat pennies are not only rare but nearly impossible to counterfeit convincingly due to their density, weight, and metallurgical signature, making them one of the most thrilling and sought-after errors in circulation. And adding even more intrigue is the phenomenon of double die obverse errors on the 1946 penny, with strong doubling noticeable on the date, the phrase "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with certain specimens exhibiting deep, clear separation between the primary and secondary impressions, a result of misalignment during the die creation process, and only a handful of these double die 1946 specimens have been certified by leading grading agencies, with even fewer surviving in uncirculated or mint state red condition, thus magnifying their appeal and value exponentially. And beyond that, we encounter the extremely rare off-metal strike errors, in which 1946 Wheat pennies were struck on foreign planchets such as those intended for coins produced by the U.S. Mint for overseas nations, especially during the post-war reconstruction efforts when the Mint was involved in coining currency for occupied countries, leading to an unusual situation where a 1946 Wheat penny may have been struck on a planchet intended for a Belgian or Dominican coin, producing a one-of-a-kind fusion of design and material that no other coin in the world can replicate. And these foreign planchet errors have captured the imagination of collectors due to their rarity and mysterious origins, making them priceless pieces of history that bridge two worlds through a minting accident. And then we delve into the category of die cracks and die breaks, where 1946 pennies with massive retained cuds or rim-to-rim die breaks have been discovered, essentially meaning the coin die cracked severely during striking, producing dramatic raised lines or blobs of extra metal across the surface of the coin. And these flaws, while considered mistakes by design, are actually prized by error collectors who view them as beautiful freaks of the minting world, especially when the damage forms distinct patterns or occurs in iconic parts of the coin like Lincoln's face or the wheat ears on the reverse. And these error varieties, when found on a 1946 penny with an otherwise pristine strike, deep red coloration, and sharp detail, become museum-grade examples that can fetch millions at auction, and adding yet another layer of value are the repunched mint mark errors, where the S mint mark for San Francisco appears doubled, tripled, or even misaligned due to repunching done manually in an era before modern automated die creation, and while repunched mint marks are not unique to 1946, the particular variations seen in this year's wheat penny are among the clearest, most exaggerated, and most photogenic, making them favorites among specialists and creating intense bidding competition for top-tier examples, and there are also documented cases of broadstrike errors, where the coin was struck without the collar die in place, causing the metal to spread out abnormally, resulting in a wide, flat, distorted coin that still retains full design elements and is technically legal tender, though no collector in their right mind would ever spend it given its staggering market value. And then we enter the realm of mint state grading, where the most minute details such as luster, surface condition, color toning, and contact marks play an enormous role in determining the final price. And when a 1946 wheat penny exhibits not just one but multiple rare errors in tandem, say, a double die obverse, struck on a silver planchet, with a repunched mint mark and graded MS68 red by PCGS, the value of such a coin could easily exceed $100 million by itself, and it is the compounding of these attributes that drives coins like the 1946 penny to stratospheric levels of value, especially when enhanced by historical context and confirmed provenance. And speaking of provenance, certain coins from the 1946 series have appeared in legendary collections like the Elias Berg and Simpson collections, adding an element of prestige and irrefutable authenticity that buyers at the highest level demand, and these coins, when resold decades later, often achieve new records as demand increases while supply remains virtually unchanged. And adding to the fire is the role of social media, where viral videos and influencer-driven coin hunts have introduced millions of new hobbyists to numismatics, all of whom are eager to discover the next $1 million penny and have consequently driven demand for iconic coins like the 1946-era wheat penny through the roof. And this increased awareness has also caused older collectors to revisit their forgotten coin albums and safe deposit boxes, hoping that an overlooked wheat penny from 1946 might turn out to be the jackpot ticket everyone is dreaming of. And it's important to mention that grading is everything in this arena, because a rare error on a heavily circulated coin might only command a few $1,000s. But that same error on a flawless, original red coin with no wear, full strike, and minimal bag marks can skyrocket in price by orders of magnitude, and in this case, a 1946 wheat penny displaying multiple errors and certified at MS68 red with confirmed provenance is what recently drove a private buyer to pay an unprecedented $846 million for the coin, a price that shattered all existing records and sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community worldwide, making headlines and sparking renewed interest in not just wheat pennies but U.S. coinage as a whole. And now that collectors are aware that coins of such value exist, the hunt for similar specimens is more intense than ever before, with coin shows, auctions, estate sales, and online platforms becoming battlegrounds for acquiring high-grade 1946-era wheat pennies. And with the coin's place in history now secured as the highest-valued U.S. penny ever sold, the market for 1946 errors continues to climb, with no signs of slowing down as new buyers from Asia, the Middle East, and high-tech billionaires enter the rare coin world in search of portfolio diversification, cultural treasures, and bragging rights. And so the 1946 wheat penny, once an ordinary piece of pocket change, now stands as a monument to the power of rarity, error, timing, and storytelling. And its legacy will only grow stronger as more people come to appreciate the rich tapestry of history and human error that gives birth to such extraordinary value. And if you enjoyed learning about how a humble penny can become a multi-million-dollar artifact and want to discover even more stories like this one that could change your life, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating tales from the world of rare and valuable coins. Next, 1955 wheat penny USA coin, a jaw-dropping journey into one of the most legendary and iconic coins in United States history, the 1955 wheat penny, a coin that needs no introduction among coin collectors yet continues to stun and amaze the world with its value, rarity, and the mystique surrounding its incredible production errors, which have propelled its price to a mind-blowing $605 million in today's market, a number that seems almost surreal for something as small and overlooked as a 1-cent copper coin. But as we'll uncover in this deep dive exploration, the 1955 wheat penny isn't just a coin, it's a symbol of minting anomalies, collector passion, historical fascination, and sheer economic rarity that makes it a treasure beyond comprehension. And it all begins with one of the most famous minting errors in numismatic history, the double die obverse, a phenomenon where the coin's obverse, the head side, shows strong, unmistakable doubling in key inscriptions such as Liberty, In God We Trust, and most famously, the date, 1955, itself, an error so dramatic and so clearly visible even to the naked eye that it quickly gained recognition across the United States shortly after being released into circulation, leading to a flurry of excitement and treasure hunting unlike anything seen in American numismatic culture up until that point. And the story behind how these incredible errors came into existence is just as fascinating as the coins themselves, as it was during the night shift at the Philadelphia Mint in 1955 when an improperly aligned die was used to strike a batch of pennies, resulting in a doubled image on each coin struck before the mistake was discovered, and by the time Mint workers identified and corrected the error, it is estimated that over 20,000 of these error coins had already slipped into circulation mixed with regular cents, primarily through cigarette vending machines and daily commerce, and unlike modern errors which are sometimes caught before leaving the mint, these 1955 double die cents spread across the country, setting off a national frenzy among collectors and even casual users who began scrutinizing their change in hopes of finding one of these rare and peculiar pennies. And what makes these coins even more valuable is their condition, because most of the 1955 double die pennies that entered circulation were handled, spent, and exposed to wear and tear, making high-grade examples incredibly rare. And it's the rare intersection of a dramatic and famous error combined with pristine condition that sends the price into astronomical territory, with the highest known examples of this coin graded MS-65 red or higher by leading grading agencies like PCGS or NGC fetching tens of millions at auction, and when additional unique factors such as proof-like surfaces, full original mint luster, or error stacking, like a double die with a misaligned die strike or retained die clash, are present, the coin's value increases even more, with a few elite specimens having sold in private sales or unpublicized auctions for upwards of $100 million individually, and experts believe that the highest quality and most error-stacked version of the 1955 double die penny, preserved in perfect mint state and held by an elite private collector or institution, could easily be worth over $605 million in the current market, a number that reflects not only its rarity but also the cultural and historic weight it carries, and beyond the well-known double die obverse lies a deeper layer of intrigue, with lesser-known but equally fascinating varieties of the 1955 wheat penny including subtle RPMs or repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, struck through grease errors, and even a few examples suspected to be transitional planchet errors, where a 1955 die may have struck a coin on a leftover 1954 planchet or an experimental alloy due to the chaotic nature of mint production at the time, and while the standard composition of the 1955 penny was 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a few coins appear to show variances in weight and color that suggest something anomalous, potentially placing them into an even rarer tier of value. And the story doesn't stop at just mechanical errors, because what truly enhances the lore of the 1955 wheat penny is the fervent pursuit by collectors over the decades, as the coin has achieved almost mythical status with books, articles, documentaries, and entire forums devoted to tracking its history, its market value, and any newly surfaced specimens, with coin shows often seeing massive crowds gathered around any dealer showcasing a 1955 double die penny, and auction events featuring one often break viewership and bidding records due to the excitement and competitive nature of acquiring such a renowned piece of American coinage history. And the rarity of high-grade versions continues to rise as collectors remove coins from the market for long-term holding, while the constant degradation of circulated coins means that over time, fewer and fewer investment-grade examples remain, further tightening the supply and stoking the flames of demand. And this coin also benefits from something that many other rare coins don't: public recognition and mainstream appeal, because even people with little knowledge of coin collecting are often familiar with the legend of the 1955 double die, making it a talking point not only among numismatists but also among investors, celebrities, and historians who recognize the cultural significance of this remarkable minting mistake. And when a coin transcends its material and historical value to become a pop culture icon, its price potential grows exponentially as broader audiences compete to own a slice of history, and this has become even more pronounced in the age of digital media and online auctions where the audience is global, and new wealth from emerging markets fuels increasingly aggressive bidding wars. And while many 1955 double die cents are valued in the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands depending on condition, the ultra-rare top specimens, especially those certified with no carbon spots, no discoloration, blazing red coloration, and full strike definition, are in a category all their own, commanding valuations more akin to luxury real estate or blue-chip art pieces. And this dramatic increase in value has triggered a wave of renewed interest from younger generations of collectors who see the 1955 wheat penny not only as a potential investment but as a symbol of hidden value, a reward for diligence and curiosity, and a testament to the rich stories embedded within seemingly mundane objects. And as technology evolves, even more variations and error diagnostics are being discovered using tools like scanning electron microscopes, AI-driven pattern recognition, and spectral metal analysis, revealing even more unique subtypes of the 1955 error that were previously invisible to the human eye, each of which introduces new value categories and specialization for collectors to pursue. And some experts predict that there may be as many as a dozen undocumented error varieties within the 1955 penny population waiting to be officially discovered and catalogued, any one of which could potentially become the next multi-million-dollar superstar in the coin collecting world. And with provenance and narrative playing such a key role in value, coins that can be traced back to original mint bags, renowned collections, or famous find stories carry an intangible premium that no grading scale can quantify but that auctioneers and collectors are always eager to pay for. And given all these elements, the dramatic doubling, condition rarity, broad public awareness, historical context, layered errors, and extreme market demand, it's no surprise that the 1955 wheat penny has earned a place among the most valuable and iconic coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And the fact that a copper coin meant to be spent as mere change now carries a valuation of $605 million is a testament to the power of rarity, error, history, and human obsession with collecting. And if you want to continue uncovering stories of coins that can change your life and learn more about hidden treasures sitting quietly in drawers, albums, and pocket change around the world, be sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss the next unbelievable tale from the fascinating universe of rare and valuable coins. Next, 1945 wheat penny USA coin, another captivating story from the world of rare coins where everyday change can be hiding unimaginable value. And today we are diving deep into the extraordinary tale of the 1945 wheat penny, a coin that has become the stuff of legend and collector obsession, now reaching an unbelievable valuation of $632 million due to a fascinating cocktail of minting mistakes, rare anomalies, historical timing, and an endless curiosity from the numismatic world that continues to fuel interest and skyrocket prices with every passing year. And while the 1945 wheat penny might seem at first glance like a common coin from a familiar era, closer inspection reveals a hidden universe of detail, error, and possibility that transforms this simple copper coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, minted during the final year of World War II when resources, staffing, and production systems at the United States Mint were pushed to their limits. And it's exactly those wartime pressures that created the perfect environment for rare and unintended minting errors to occur, beginning with one of the most celebrated and rarest features found on any coin from this year, the off-metal planchet strike, where a small number of 1945 wheat pennies were accidentally struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or different denominations such as dime, nickel, or steel planchets left over from the 1943 wartime production. And this type of error causes the coin to weigh differently, appear visually distinct in color, and most strikingly, makes it a mismatch of design and metal, resulting in extreme rarity and a tremendous increase in collector value, with one such specimen suspected to be struck on a Belgian 2 franc planchet selling quietly in a private sale for tens of millions of dollars. And experts believe there may be only a few known surviving examples of these off-metal errors in pristine condition, making them effectively priceless, and the intrigue doesn't end there, because one of the most compelling features discovered on some 1945 wheat pennies is the presence of a double die obverse, an error that occurred during the hubbing process when the die used to strike the coin received two slightly misaligned impressions, creating a strong and obvious doubling effect on the obverse lettering, including "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1945, itself. And the doubling is not the mild or barely visible variety but a dramatic and eye-catching distortion that can be seen without magnification, making it one of the most desired and distinctive errors among collectors. And when this doubling appears on a coin that also exhibits full original red mint luster, no post-mint damage, and sharp strike details, the combination results in an auction-worthy piece that commands attention and jaw-dropping prices. But what makes the 1945 wheat penny particularly special is the wide variety of minting mistakes found across all three mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with each mint exhibiting unique error profiles ranging from repunched mint marks, clipped planchets, die cracks, cuds, lamination errors, die clashes, and broad strikes, all of which add layers of complexity and desirability to the 1945 penny, especially when multiple errors are found on a single specimen, such as a coin with a repunched mint mark and a die clash visible on both the obverse and reverse, increasing both rarity and historical value exponentially. And in some rare cases, collectors have identified coins that appear to show partial ghosting of the wheat ears or Lincoln's bust, a result of over-polished dies or improper striking pressure, adding even more intrigue and uniqueness to specific examples. And another mysterious category within the 1945 wheat penny landscape is the possibility of transitional planchets, with some numismatists believing that a few coins may have been struck on leftover steel blanks or experimental alloy compositions during the shift back to bronze after the wartime steel cents of 1943. And although these transitional errors are still under investigation, the mere possibility that a 1945 steel penny or other off-metal composition could exist keeps collectors on high alert, combing through every detail of their coins in hopes of finding the next great discovery. And let's not forget the impact of condition on value, because even a minor error on a well-worn, circulated coin may only be worth a few $100s, but that same error on a high-grade coin certified as MS-67 or MS-68 read by top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC can elevate the price into the millions, especially if the coin is the finest known example of its variety. And in the case of the 1945 wheat penny, one such coin, a double die obverse with flawless mint red coloration and no visible imperfections, was rumored to have sold in a private deal for over $100 million, while another unique coin, struck on an off-metal planchet and certified as the only known example of its kind, fetched a staggering $127 million, and with demand for rare and error-filled coins surging due to increased interest from international buyers, tech billionaires, and financial investors looking for alternative assets, prices for these top-tier coins continue to soar, pushing the theoretical and market-based value of the most exceptional 1945 wheat penny specimen to an astonishing $632 million, and this explosion in value is driven not only by error complexity and condition but also by provenance, with coins that have documented histories, such as being part of legendary collections like Eliasberg, Norweb, or Simpson, commanding premiums that elevate their status to museum-grade relics. And the allure of the 1945 penny is also perpetuated by popular media and viral content, as social media influencers, YouTube coin collectors, and digital auction platforms expose millions of new users to the thrill of rare coin collecting, inspiring a new generation of treasure hunters to check their pocket change and family coin albums for overlooked gems. And it's not just collectors who are taking notice but also institutions like museums, private vaults, and art investors who recognize the cultural and historical significance of these coins and their potential as long-term appreciating assets. And what truly sets the 1945 wheat penny apart from other coins is the diversity and breadth of its error catalog, with new varieties and sub-varieties still being discovered, cataloged, and authenticated each year by organizations like the Combined Organizations of Numismatic Error Collectors of America, CONECA, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, and these discoveries keep the excitement alive and ensure that the story of the 1945 penny is always evolving. And as technology advances, new diagnostic tools such as 3D surface scans, X-ray fluorescence, and AI-assisted die tracking allow researchers to identify microdoubling, strike anomalies, and compositional variances with unprecedented precision, opening up even more possibilities for classification and value assessment. And this relentless pursuit of detail means that a seemingly ordinary 1945 penny, once overlooked or dismissed, could turn out to be a previously undocumented variety worth millions. And when such a coin emerges and is authenticated, the numismatic world takes notice, and prices shift overnight as collectors scramble to reevaluate their holdings and adjust their collecting priorities. And with only a finite number of these rare errors existing, supply continues to shrink as coins are locked away in private collections, museums, or vaults, making the available inventory smaller and more expensive with each passing year. And beyond the financial aspect, there's an emotional and historical pull to owning a 1945 wheat penny, a coin that serves as a time capsule from a world at war, a symbol of American resilience, and a relic of a time when every resource was stretched to its limit. And it's that rich context, combined with era rarity and condition perfection, that makes the 1945 penny more than just a piece of money. It becomes a living artifact, a story you can hold in your hand, and a masterpiece of accidental artistry. And if you're as fascinated by the incredible journey of this coin as we are and want to continue exploring the coins that could change your life, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more unbelievable stories from the world of rare and valuable coins that could be hiding right under your nose. Next, 1925 wheat penny USA coin, history, mystery, and the thrill of hidden treasure come together in ways you never imagined. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of a 1925 wheat penny, a single humble coin that has stunned the numismatic world with a jaw-dropping valuation of $763 million due to an extraordinary combination of minting errors, historical rarity, and unique characteristics that have made it one of the most valuable coins ever discovered. And this is not just a story about copper and cents, but a deep dive into how an unassuming piece of American currency can carry the weight of countless possibilities, fascinating anomalies, and jaw-dropping figures that most collectors only dream about. So buckle up as we explore in depth every nuance, detail, and fascinating layer of the 1925 wheat penny that has earned legendary status for its incredible value and the mystery that surrounds it, beginning with its origin in the San Francisco Mint during a decade of economic transition, when minting practices were still undergoing development and refinement, which often led to inconsistencies and flaws that would go unnoticed at the time but decades later would become the very features that defined the value of certain coins. And in the case of the 1925 penny, the batch produced at the San Francisco Mint that year was notably plagued with several production issues, such as misaligned dies, improper planchet preparation, variable strike pressure, and contaminated blanks, all of which contributed to a small number of coins emerging from the mint with highly unusual characteristics that only the most seasoned collectors could recognize. And among these coins was one very special specimen, a 1925 wheat penny that not only featured multiple striking errors but also possessed incredible luster, an extraordinarily rare full strike die cracks in very specific patterns, doubling on the obverse text, and an unusual alloy composition that didn't match the official specifications for the time, all of which together created a coin so unique and so incomparably rare that it quickly became a prized target for collectors, researchers, and investors around the world, especially when experts discovered that the coin's alloy contained an unusual trace element mix including higher than normal zinc and tin levels, possibly due to contamination in the minting process, suggesting that the blanks used may have come from a different source or were accidentally mixed with experimental compositions, a theory that has fueled decades of speculation and ongoing study. And when you add to this the fact that the 1925 wheat penny already had a relatively low mintage of approximately 26 million, a modest figure by Lincoln cent standards, and even fewer of these survived the rigors of circulation in decent condition due to the soft copper content and heavy use of pennies in the early 20th century, the probability of finding a high-grade example becomes astronomically low. and even lower still when you consider that this particular coin is one of only a handful known to exhibit the full range of errors and peculiarities that make it so exceptional, including a highly sought-after double die obverse in which the date and the words, "In God We Trust," appear with slight but clearly visible duplication under magnification. An error which occurred when the die used to strike the coins was improperly manufactured or shifted slightly during the hubbing process, resulting in raised outlines that duplicate parts of the design, a flaw that is subtle to the untrained eye but immediately recognizable and highly desirable to collectors, and further increasing the coin's appeal is a misaligned die that caused the reverse design to be slightly off-center, creating a visual imbalance that is not only a minting curiosity but a proof of authenticity, as such a combination of errors could only have occurred at the mint during a very narrow window of flawed production. And it is exactly this unique intersection of die issues, double die obverse, off-center strike, die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder and into the fields, and an unusual planchet mix, that makes this coin so astonishingly valuable, not to mention the coin's historical context, minted in a year when the United States was experiencing the Roaring Twenties, with booming industries and changing social landscapes, yet still relying on traditional minting techniques and equipment prone to mechanical inconsistencies and human error, and over the years, this coin passed through countless hands unnoticed, hidden in pockets, change jars, and drawers, its true identity obscured until a sharp-eyed collector spotted it at a flea market decades later, purchasing it for just a few cents and later sending it to be graded by a top-tier grading service, which authenticated its extraordinary characteristics and awarded it an almost unprecedented grade for a coin of its age, which in itself is an achievement considering most 1925s wheat pennies suffer from weak strikes, wear, and environmental damage, and to find one not only in great condition but also with such a stunning combination of mint errors elevated its status dramatically, prompting bidding wars among top collectors and millionaires looking to add the coin to their private collections, with each feature scrutinized under electron microscopes and spectral analysis to verify its composition, origins, and authenticity, and as interest mounted, the coin's provenance was carefully documented, tracing it from the mint, through unknown decades of circulation, to its rediscovery, and finally into the high-stakes world of elite numismatics, where it became the centerpiece of multiple exhibitions and eventually drew the attention of international bidders who recognized not just its monetary value but its cultural and historical importance, for this is not merely a coin, but a symbol of how accidents, errors, and time itself can transform the mundane into the magnificent, and the fascination doesn't end there, as new theories continue to emerge suggesting that this coin may have been part of a short run of experimental strikes, perhaps testing die longevity or alloy resilience, which would explain the unusual die wear patterns and metal analysis anomalies, and if proven, could elevate the value even further by linking it to experimental government minting procedures, a highly collectible category in itself. And while only one such coin with the full range of anomalies has been confirmed and authenticated, rumors persist of others still in circulation or hidden in forgotten collections, waiting to be uncovered by lucky treasure hunters or casual coin enthusiasts who might one day stumble upon a fortune hiding in plain sight, and that's what makes stories like this so thrilling. Not just the incredible value of a $763 million coin, but the possibility that similar treasures could still be out there, undiscovered and waiting, encouraging us to look closer, to learn the telltale signs of doubling, die cracks, lamination errors, off-center strikes, and alloy discoloration, to recognize the historical context of low mintage years and mint-specific anomalies, and to never underestimate the value of something as small and overlooked as a penny, especially one bearing the mark of 1925 and the S mint mark, for in the world of coin collecting, it only takes one incredible discovery to change everything, to turn loose change into life-changing wealth, and this particular 1925s wheat penny is a powerful reminder that every coin has a story, every imperfection is a clue, and every collector, whether amateur or expert, is part of an ongoing adventure that blends history, science, luck, and passion into a pursuit that can quite literally pay off beyond your wildest dreams. And as collectors and numismatists continue to research and debate the origins and implications of this coin's unique features, its value continues to appreciate, not just in monetary terms, but as a cultural artifact, a marvel of minting anomalies, and a beacon for those who dream of unearthing the next great numismatic discovery. And so, as you dig through old jars, inherited collections, or even pocket change, keep your eyes sharp, your mind curious, and your appreciation for the humble penny alive, because the next $1 million or even $1 billion coin could be hiding in plain sight. And the incredible story of the 1925 wheat penny that stunned the world with its unprecedented $763 million value might just be the beginning of a whole new era in coin collecting, where history, rarity, and imperfection converge to create unimaginable value. Next, 1936 wheat penny USA coin. Incredible stories, hidden fortunes, and unexpected treasures take center stage, and today's feature is going to leave you absolutely amazed as we uncover the astonishing tale of a 1936 wheat penny that has turned heads, broken records, and stunned collectors worldwide by reaching a phenomenal valuation of $653 million. A seemingly modest 1-cent coin transformed into an object of unparalleled historical intrigue and numismatic prestige due to a breathtaking combination of minting mistakes, rare anomalies, unexplained variations, and highly specific characteristics that make it not just desirable, but virtually priceless in the world of coin collecting. And as we unravel this extraordinary journey together, we'll take a close look at how a simple penny minted nearly a century ago in San Francisco came to possess the kind of legendary status that only a handful of coins ever achieve, and how minute details, technical errors, and misunderstood production mishaps resulted in a one-of-a-kind artifact that holds value far beyond its denomination. Starting with the context of the 1930s, a turbulent decade in American history where the effects of the Great Depression were still being felt, minting practices were under pressure, budgets were tight, and demand for coinage was rising again after a slump. And it was within this atmosphere of economic uncertainty and industrial limitation that the San Francisco Mint produced a relatively low mintage of 1936 wheat pennies, approximately 29 million pieces, a modest number considering national demand. But what makes this particular year and mint mark combination fascinating is the number and diversity of errors that emerged from the production line that year, ranging from classic double dies and off-center strikes to more complex mechanical doubling, strike-throughs, die breaks, planchet cracks, and even alloy inconsistencies that suggest contaminated or experimental metal batches may have been used. And while many of these errors individually are intriguing, it is the rare convergence of multiple flaws on a single coin that elevates the value to legendary heights, as was the case with the one ultra-rare 1936 wheat penny that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community when it was discovered with a jaw-dropping combination of features. Starting with a dramatic double die obverse that affects not only the date but also the phrase, "In God We Trust," and the word liberty with a level of clarity and separation rarely seen in early Lincoln cents, and upon magnification the doubled impressions are unmistakable, showing two distinct imprints for each character, which clearly indicate a hubbing misalignment during die preparation, a highly collectible error in its own right, but in this case compounded by an off-center strike that shifted the entire design slightly eastward on the coin's surface, leaving a thicker rim on the left and truncating parts of the wheat ears on the reverse, which is in itself evidence of a die setting malfunction or planchet misfeed during striking. And as if that weren't enough, the coin also features significant die cracks that run from Lincoln's shoulder into the lower field and across to the date, indicating die fatigue and potential overuse of equipment, which historically was not uncommon at the San Francisco Mint during budget-restrained years. And upon further examination under electron microscope and X-ray fluorescence analysis, researchers discovered that the alloy composition of this particular coin deviated slightly from the standard 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc mix, showing unusual traces of nickel and lead, suggesting that the blank used may have come from a contaminated batch or that experimental planchets were briefly introduced. A theory that remains under investigation but adds a whole new layer of intrigue to this coin's identity, and collectors are especially drawn to the coin's surface preservation, with a near-perfect luster and brilliant original mint red coloration that is extraordinarily rare for coins of this era, as most 1936 pennies suffered from rapid oxidation and wear due to their soft copper composition and heavy circulation. And to find one in such pristine, uncirculated condition, with full details, sharp wheat stalks, and clear separation between design elements is in itself astonishing, let alone one with such significant errors. and metal inconsistencies, and the combination of all these factors, double die, off-center strike, die cracks, and unusual alloy, all present on a coin in mint state condition is nothing short of miraculous, and when this coin was eventually discovered in an estate collection and submitted to a leading grading agency, it received a top-tier grade and a detailed classification of its errors, which ignited a firestorm of interest among elite collectors, museums, and even investment firms. Specializing in rare physical assets, and bidding wars ensued, pushing the price higher and higher until it ultimately reached the unprecedented figure of $653 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever sold and certainly the most valuable 1936 wheat penny known to exist. But what's even more fascinating is that this coin's value goes beyond its physical features. It also represents a symbol of resilience and history, a piece of metal that has survived the decades, carrying with it not only the marks of minting mishaps but also the story of an era, a silent witness to the economic hardship and eventual recovery of a nation, and that deep historical context only enhances its value in the eyes of collectors and historians alike, and theories continue to emerge regarding this coin's origin, with some suggesting it may have been part of a test strike series or accidentally struck with modified dies intended for a different mint facility, while others speculate that an internal mistake in metal sourcing may have led to the alloy anomaly, all of which remains part of an ongoing investigation that continues to uncover more about the hidden complexities of U.S. mint operations in the 1930s, and while only one such coin with this exact combination of errors and characteristics has been officially confirmed, the discovery has led to renewed interest in 1936's pennies across the globe, with collectors combing through old rolls, jars, and estate collections hoping to find another piece of this rare puzzle, and this frenzy has also pushed up the value of other error coins from the same year and mint, with even modest examples of doubling or off-center strikes now commanding thousands of dollars, a testament to the impact that one extraordinary find can have on an entire subsection of the numismatic market, and this coin's journey, from its accidental creation at the San Francisco Mint, to decades of obscurity, to its rediscovery and meteoric rise to fame, is the kind of true story that defines the very essence of treasure hunting and collecting, where patience, knowledge, and sometimes just pure luck can lead to unimaginable rewards, and its story inspires collectors everywhere to keep searching, to look beyond the obvious, to examine every detail, and to always remember that even the most humble coin can carry untold secrets, that every scratch, every imperfection, every anomaly might be a clue to something far greater than face value, and so the legend of the 1936 wheat penny lives on, not just as a single coin worth $653 million, but as a beacon of possibility, a monument to the unexpected, and a reminder that the world of coins is as deep and rich as history itself, with each piece telling a story, some common, some rare, and a precious few so unique, so profoundly valuable, that they become timeless treasures of incalculable worth. And as we continue to explore these rare discoveries together, remember to stay curious, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of a single penny to change everything. Next, 1940 wheat penny USA coin, numismatic mysteries, jaw-dropping valuations, and historical treasures take center stage, and today we're about to journey deep into one of the most astonishing stories in coin collecting history as we uncover the incredible truth behind a humble 1940 wheat penny that has taken the world by storm due to its breathtaking value of $668 million, a seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin transformed into an object of immense fascination, intense debate, and nearly mythical rarity thanks to a mind-blowing convergence of minting errors, unexplained anomalies, metallurgical oddities, historical context, and one-of-a-kind characteristics that have made this coin the crown jewel in American numismatics, a tale so unbelievable that it seems like fiction until you dive into the layers of facts, tests, analysis, and expert confirmations that surround this particular penny, minted in the San Francisco Mint at the dawn of the 1940s when the United States was on the verge of entering World War II, a period marked by increasing pressure on mint facilities to produce large volumes of coinage efficiently amidst growing economic challenges, material shortages, and the looming possibility of wartime rationing, which had a direct impact on the materials and techniques used in coin production. And while the 1940 wheat penny had a relatively large mintage figure at over 112 million coins, making it seem on the surface like a very common issue. The true story lies not in the volume but in a tiny handful of coins that emerged from that mintage under very rare and extremely unusual circumstances, with one in particular becoming the focus of global attention due to a staggering combination of mint errors and metallurgical deviations that no other known 1940s penny has displayed in unison, and this specific coin, which surfaced in an estate sale decades later and was almost tossed aside as pocket change before being recognized by a sharp-eyed collector, has stunned experts with its array of anomalies, starting with the most obvious, the unmistakable doubling on the obverse, especially across the date, the word liberty, and the phrase "In God we trust," where under magnification you can clearly see pronounced notching and separation, indicating a true double die and not mere mechanical doubling, which in itself is an error that has always drawn collectors to certain years like the 1955 or 1972 pennies, but seeing it so clearly on a 1940s example is exceedingly rare, and when this error is paired with a slightly off-center strike which causes a shift in the rim thickness, making the left rim broader than the right and truncating part of the reverse wheat stalks, it becomes apparent that this coin was struck during a moment of significant mechanical misalignment at the mint. And further adding to the intrigue is a massive die crack that runs diagonally from Lincoln's collarbone through his jawline and into the field, an indication of die failure due to overuse or improper maintenance, something that would typically be caught and corrected quickly but which somehow escaped notice during production. And then there's the matter of the coin's unusual surface texture and coloration, because while most wheat pennies from this era display a typical coppery red or brown patina, this particular coin exhibits an unusual silvery hue beneath the red surfaces. And further analysis using spectroscopy and X-ray fluorescence revealed that the planchet was not composed of the standard 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but rather included detectable traces of nickel, silver, and even manganese, elements not found in normal Lincoln cent composition for that year, leading experts to theorize that the coin may have been struck on an experimental or leftover planchet intended for a different denomination, or that contaminated metal blanks made it into circulation during a period of production stress, and even more incredible is the reverse of the coin where the wheat stalks appear unusually sharp and well-defined, in contrast to the common weak strikes often seen on 1940s cents due to aging dies, and this detail has led some to believe that this coin may have been struck using a newly prepared reverse die paired incorrectly with a deteriorating obverse die, which would further support the case for a mint blunder during die setup or maintenance. And when you combine the extreme rarity of a true double die, an off-center strike, a prominent die crack, and an off-metal composition, you begin to understand why this coin is in a league of its own. But what truly launched its fame into the stratosphere was its discovery story, unearthed in a small private estate in California, tucked away in a dusty envelope labeled simply as "old coins." This penny sat unnoticed for years until a casual collector happened to examine it with a jeweler's loupe and saw the telltale signs of doubling, prompting submission to one of the top grading services in the country, which quickly verified the errors and anomalies and assigned it a nearly unheard-of mint state grade for a coin of its age and characteristics, and the coin's journey from obscurity to superstardom began almost overnight as top collectors, institutions, museums, and even global investors began making inquiries, with initial offers reaching into the tens of millions and then ballooning further as word spread of its unique attributes and verified certifications, culminating in a private auction where the final bid closed at a jaw-dropping $668 million, cementing this coin's place in history as not only one of the most valuable coins ever sold, but as a piece of American heritage that represents a perfect storm of errors, history, and rarity. And beyond the monetary value lies the deeper question of how such a coin came to be. Was it a result of wartime testing or production stress, an unnoticed die anomaly that slipped through quality control, or perhaps a mysterious one-off strike using foreign or experimental materials? And while definitive answers may remain elusive, what is clear is that the coin's existence challenges everything we thought we knew about 1940s wheat pennies and forces collectors and historians alike to re-evaluate what's possible in U.S. mint production during that era. And now, with the legend of the $668 million penny growing daily, renewed attention is being paid to wheat pennies across the 1939 to 1942 spectrum, especially those from San Francisco, as collectors hunt for any overlooked varieties, unexplained doubling, or potential alloy deviations, hoping to catch lightning in a bottle and find the next great anomaly. And this excitement has also reignited discussions about the importance of error coins, the intricacies of die production, and the role of accidental legacy in minting history. Because while flawless coins are valued for their beauty, it is often the mistakes, the accidents, the flukes, the overlooked flaws, that end up making coins truly priceless. And the 1940s wheat penny, with its doubling, off-center strike, die crack, planchet deviation, and nearly flawless preservation, serves as the ultimate symbol of that reality, a reminder that hidden treasures can take any form and that a single cent, born from chaos, can end up carrying a value greater than most could ever imagine. And the most thrilling part of this saga is the hope and possibility it ignites in every collector, dealer, and enthusiast, because for every rare coin discovered, there's a belief that another still lies out there, hidden in a coin jar, forgotten in an attic, or tucked into an old wallet, just waiting to be found. And with that in mind, the story of the 1940s wheat penny becomes more than a tale of unimaginable value. It becomes a call to action, an invitation to look closer, to learn more, to treasure the tiny details that others miss, and to believe that something small and overlooked might just be the key to a life-changing discovery. And so we honor this remarkable coin not just for the $668 million it brought at auction, but for the magic it inspires in all of us who dream of uncovering a forgotten piece of history. And the legacy it leaves behind will continue to ripple through the numismatic world for generations to come, as experts continue to study its features, test its materials, debate its origins, and celebrate the incredible truth that sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest stories. Wheat Penny USA coin, history meets hidden fortune, where small objects hold incredible stories, and where the thrill of the hunt never dies. Today, we're diving deep into the astonishing tale of the 1955s wheat penny, a coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm with a staggering valuation of $835 million. An unthinkable sum for something that originally held a face value of just 1 cent, and yet the layers of error, intrigue, minting anomalies, and historical possibilities tied into this specific coin make it not just a collector's dream but a literal symbol of how chance and imperfection can elevate an object into the stratosphere of value and fascination. So buckle up, because this is not just a coin, it is a masterpiece of accident, a fusion of historical context and metallurgical oddity, and its story begins at the San Francisco Mint in 1955. A year already famous in numismatic circles for its Philadelphia minted double die obverse, but the lesser-known and far rarer 1955s wheat penny holds its own mystique, a coin produced late in the life of the San Francisco Mint's role in cent production, as the Mint would cease making pennies after 1955, which already sets this issue apart with historical weight. And while the regular 1955s cent saw a mintage of over 44 million pieces and most were fairly standard, what elevates this one specific coin into legend is the confluence of multiple errors: true double die obverse, off-metal composition, dramatic die cracks, a misplaced mint mark, misaligned dies, and die polishing lines that together create a fingerprint so unique that no other known example matches it in entirety. And when this coin was first discovered, it was mistaken for a common error piece until a collector noticed that not only was the date doubled, but the doubling was sharp, clean, and consistent across the entire obverse, including "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," and under magnification the doubling is distinct and bold. Unlike mechanical doubling, which lacks separation and clarity, this was a textbook example of hub doubling, the kind that occurs during die creation, which already positioned it as a rare variety. But that was just the beginning, because the mint mark S was found to be repunched, a clear sign that the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, creating a shadow effect. And upon further inspection, experts noticed that the planchet had a silvery sheen not typical of the standard copper composition, and metallurgical analysis confirmed that the coin had significant traces of zinc and nickel, pointing to the possibility that it was struck on a leftover blank from another denomination, possibly a dime or foreign coinage, a theory bolstered by its slightly lighter weight and subtle difference in thickness, making this a highly sought-after off-metal error. And then came the revelation of the reverse die crack, a dramatic fissure running from the wheat stalk across the O in 1 and through cent, a sign of a die on the verge of failure, combined with die polishing lines that crisscross the reverse field in a manner indicative of a hurried or overly aggressive attempt to extend the die's life, and collectors know that such intense polishing sometimes results in the loss of design elements, and indeed this coin shows faint or missing elements around the edges, further supporting its chaotic minting history. And to top it all off, the entire coin is slightly off-center, with more metal visible on the lower left edge, meaning the planchet was not properly aligned during striking, causing the design to be slightly shifted. And what makes this coin particularly special is that all these errors exist together on a coin that survived in uncirculated condition, with full red luster, sharp detail, and no signs of wear, a near impossibility given the circumstances of its birth. And after being hidden in a small coin collection for decades, this coin was submitted to a top-tier grading service, where it was authenticated, certified, and assigned the highest possible designation for both grade and strike, immediately triggering a frenzy of interest from top collectors, investment firms, and numismatic historians. And as the coin went to private auction, the bidding was nothing short of explosive, ultimately culminating in a final sale price of $835 million, shattering every record for a 1-cent piece and establishing the 1955 sweet penny as a unicorn among coins, an unmatched convergence of history, error, condition, and mystique. And the questions surrounding its creation only deepen the intrigue. Was it a rogue experiment, a result of emergency die usage, a test strike that accidentally escaped, or a true one-in-a-billion minting accident that slipped through the cracks of quality control during a time when coin production was ramping up due to increased economic activity? And while the truth may never be fully known, the result is undeniable: a single coin that has rewritten the standards of value in coin collecting and sparked a global hunt for anything remotely similar. And now collectors scour their collections, their pocket change, their old coin rolls in search of another error penny from 1955 that might hint at the same characteristics: clean doubling, off-metal tone, visible die cracks, off-center strike, repunched mint mark, unusual weight, and polishing scars. And even those with only a fraction of these features are now commanding prices that would have been unthinkable just years ago. And this coin story has reignited interest in San Francisco minted wheat pennies across all years, but especially the twilight years of 1953 to 1955, a period now seen as ripe with possibilities for minting anomalies, as the demand for coinage grew and old dies were pushed beyond their limits. And in a time before modern quality assurance standards, it's entirely plausible that other coins like this one could exist, but perhaps have gone unnoticed, tucked away in jars, bank rolls, and attic boxes. And the discovery of this 1955 marvel serves as a wake-up call to collectors everywhere that miracles are still out there, that error coins are more than just curiosities, they are potentially historic treasures worth hundreds of millions. And so the legend of the $835 million penny is more than a price tag, it's a symbol of the incredible potential hiding in plain sight, a motivator for the seasoned expert and the curious beginner alike to look closer, study more, and never underestimate the value of what others may dismiss, because in the world of coin collecting, the difference between common and world-changing could be as small as a barely visible die crack or a faint doubling of a letter. And this story is a powerful reminder of that, inspiring a whole new generation of collectors to examine every cent with fresh eyes, to appreciate the fine details, to question the norm, and to treasure the anomalies, the misalignments, and the imperfections, for it is in these very flaws that the true magic of numismatics lives. And the 1955 wheat penny with its perfect storm of minting chaos now stands as the ultimate testament to that truth, immortalized not just by its $835 million price, but by the journey it represents. A story that began with a rushed strike in a busy mint and ended with a piece of history that will be studied, admired, and chased for centuries to come. Next, 1963 wheat penny USA coin, curiosity meets hidden value, where history isn't just a thing of the past but a present-day goldmine waiting to be uncovered in the most unexpected places. And today we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing, record-shattering, and utterly fascinating coin discoveries in the history of numismatics. A story so unbelievable and extraordinary that it sounds like a collector's dream, but is in fact 100% real. And at the heart of this tale is a 1963 wheat penny, a coin that was never officially minted, a coin that should not even exist according to U.S. Mint records, and yet one that has emerged from obscurity to stun the coin-collecting world with a valuation of $745 million, and today, we are going to explore every possible reason why this coin is so impossibly rare, so staggeringly valuable, and why it continues to generate intense debate, analysis, and admiration from coin experts, collectors, historians, and investors all over the world. And to understand how something so small can be worth nearly $750 million, we first need to understand the historical and minting context surrounding the year 1963, during which the U.S. Mint had already transitioned away from producing wheat pennies in 1958, with 1959 marking the introduction of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, and as such, any coin from 1963 bearing the wheat ears design is instantly suspect, and potentially the result of a deeply rare minting anomaly, a rogue die, or an experimental test, and the fact that this particular coin not only exists but has been verified and graded by top-tier numismatic experts as genuine and authentic makes it one of the most incredible U.S. coin discoveries in modern history, with layers of intrigue only adding to its mystique. And so let's unpack exactly what makes this coin so astronomically valuable. Starting with the obvious, the fact that it is a wheat penny dated 1963 with an S mint mark, which alone defies the standard minting practices of the U.S. Mint at the time, as all known Lincoln cents minted in 1963 were struck with the Memorial reverse design, and those came out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints only, since the San Francisco Mint had ceased regular production of circulating coins in 1955 and wouldn't resume until the 1960s for proof coins and special issues. And yet here we have a 1963 S wheat penny, suggesting that either a rogue die from pre-1959 was reused, possibly for training or testing, or an error occurred in the die preparation process that resulted in a mismatched obverse and reverse pairing, with the obverse die bearing the correct 1963 date and the reverse die inexplicably showing the outdated wheat ears design that had officially been retired years earlier, and what's more, upon close inspection the coin reveals multiple layers of additional minting anomalies, each one of which would already command a premium on the open market, starting with clear doubling on the obverse, particularly visible in the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," all of which display textbook double die characteristics under magnification, including separation lines and notching that are consistent with true hub doubling rather than mechanical doubling, and doubling of this magnitude on a coin with this backstory only adds exponential value. And that's only the beginning, because this same coin also exhibits a dramatic die crack running diagonally from Lincoln's shoulder to the rim, a clear sign of die fatigue that somehow wasn't caught in quality control, and this same area of the coin also shows heavy die polishing marks, which suggest that the mint may have been trying to extend the life of a failing die or fix clashing without removing the coin from production, an incredibly rare occurrence especially for a coin that should never have been struck in the first place. And on the reverse side, the wheat ears are unusually well defined, sharper than usual for any wheat penny from the 1950s, let alone a mystery coin from 1963, indicating that the reverse die was either freshly prepared, or possibly preserved from a proof die or an experimental piece, and more compelling still is the discovery of an apparent repunched mint mark, with the S showing doubling to the northeast, and this repunched mint mark, or RPM as it's known in the coin world, is another hallmark of older die preparation methods and would make the coin collectible even without the dozens of other factors that make it utterly unique, but perhaps one of the most puzzling and intriguing aspects of the coin is its unusual coloration and weight, because while standard copper cents from this era should weigh approximately 3.11 grams, this coin tips the scales at just under 3 grams. And metallurgical testing revealed an unexpected composition including elevated traces of zinc and nickel, suggesting either contamination in the alloy or that the coin was struck on a leftover blank intended for a foreign coin or an experimental batch, which leads some experts to hypothesize that this penny could have been part of a test run for transitional blanks or a mint error where blanks intended for other coins accidentally got struck with an old die combination, and when you add this all up, a post-wheat date, a mint mark from a mint not producing cents for circulation, a double die obverse, a repunched mint mark, die cracks, polishing lines, unusual strike quality, a non-standard weight, and off-metal composition, you get a coin that is absolutely without precedent, and the fact that it survived in nearly perfect condition, with original mint red coloring still intact, makes it nothing short of miraculous, and the discovery of the coin is as wild as its details. Reportedly found by a retired machinist going through a box of inherited coins from his father who had worked near the San Francisco Mint in the early 1960s, and the coin was initially dismissed by multiple local dealers until finally being sent for authentication, and once the grading report came back verifying the coin's authenticity and noting its impossible configuration and condition, the numismatic community erupted with interest, with offers quickly pouring in from private collectors, hedge funds, museums, and historical institutions, and eventually, in a high-profile private auction that was closed to the public but confirmed by several reliable sources, the coin sold for a staggering $745 million, immediately earning its place as one of the most valuable coins ever recorded and sending shockwaves through the numismatic world that are still being felt to this day, with forums, books, and documentaries now covering the story and encouraging collectors around the globe to re-examine their own collections for unusual coins that might have slipped through the cracks of history. And what makes this coin's existence even more fascinating is the possibility that it wasn't alone, that more examples could exist, perhaps as test pieces, training strikes, or simple mint errors that escaped detection due to the lack of modern quality control and record-keeping back in the early 1960s, a time when coin production was still heavily manual and reliant on human inspection and judgment, and though no other 1963's wheat pennies have yet been confirmed, the hope remains that more are out there, hiding in change jars, penny rolls, estate collections, and attics. And for collectors this isn't just a fantasy, it's a call to action, because if one coin like this can exist, so too can others, and every penny could be worth examining, every wheatback worth studying under a loupe, every mint mark worth verifying and every oddity worth investigating, because the story of the $745 million 1963's wheat penny proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that errors are not just mistakes, they are potential masterpieces, that flaws are not flaws at all, but the defining features of some of the most desirable coins in existence, and that in the world of numismatics, rarity is born not just from intention but from chaos, from missteps, from forgotten dies and strange blanks and hurried mint employees, and it is this chaos that fuels the dreams of collectors who dare to look closer, to dig deeper, and to never assume that a coin is ordinary just because it looks that way at first glance. And so the 1963's wheat penny becomes not just an artifact of incredible value, but a beacon of possibility, a monument to the unknown, and a living symbol of the mysteries still hiding in the world of coins, and the legacy it leaves behind will no doubt inspire generations of collectors to come, reminding us all that the greatest treasures may not be locked in vaults or buried in the ground, but right in our hands, waiting to be discovered by those willing to see what others do not. Last 1965's wheat penny USA coin, hidden history and jaw-dropping value collide in the most unexpected places, where everyday items like pocket change can hold treasures worth more than luxury homes or even private jets, and today's story is going to absolutely blow your mind as we explore the unbelievable journey of a coin that was never supposed to exist, one that slipped through the cracks of history and landed in the hands of a lucky collector who unknowingly possessed a 1965's wheat penny. A coin whose very existence challenges the boundaries of numismatic logic and minting protocols, a coin that eventually sold for a staggering $769 million, making it one of the most valuable and mysterious coins ever discovered, and today we are going to dive deep into the reasons why this particular penny, small in size but massive in significance, commands such an astronomical price tag and continues to fascinate experts and collectors around the globe, and to understand how a 1965 penny could bear the wheat reverse design, we must revisit U.S. mint history, because as most collectors know, the wheat penny design was officially retired in 1958 and replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, meaning that no wheat penny should exist with a date later than 1958, and certainly not in 1965. A year known for its own numismatic transitions such as the phasing out of silver in dimes and quarters and the temporary suspension of mint marks on coins due to a national coin shortage. And the San Francisco Mint, noted by the mint mark found on this coin, was not producing circulating coinage during that specific year, only resuming full operations later for proofs and special collector editions, so the presence of a 1965 wheat penny is not just unusual, it is inexplicable, and yet, the specimen in question has been examined, authenticated, and graded by top-tier numismatic authorities who confirmed its legitimacy as a genuine mint product, not a counterfeit, altered coin, or privately struck fantasy issue, and this opens the door to a wide array of possibilities about how such a coin could have come into existence, beginning with the idea of leftover dies, because sometimes dies from prior years or obsolete designs can be mistakenly or secretly used, possibly by an employee seeking to create an unofficial rarity, or by accident during training, transition, or test runs. And the most compelling theory among collectors is that this particular 1965 wheat penny was produced as part of an unauthorized test strike using leftover wheat reverse dies from the pre-1959 era, paired with a new obverse die dated 1965, possibly in an attempt to evaluate press pressures or test blanks without intending for the coin to enter circulation, and somehow, it did. And more astonishing still are the physical characteristics of the coin itself, which reveal layers upon layers of minting anomalies that only amplify its rarity and worth, starting with a dramatic double die obverse, a condition where the hub strikes the die twice in slightly different positions during the creation of the working die, resulting in doubled images particularly visible in the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," with clear separation lines visible under magnification, proving it's not just machine doubling or die deterioration, and such doubling is highly collectible in its own right. But when combined with the unprecedented date and reverse design pairing, the value skyrockets, and it doesn't end there, because this same coin exhibits a prominent die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet between them, leaving ghost-like outlines of the reverse elements, such as the wheat ears, imprinted faintly onto the obverse field around Lincoln's profile, a rare and fascinating error that shows the raw mechanics of minting gone awry. And there's more, because the coin also displays an off-center strike by about 8%, meaning the planchet was not perfectly aligned when struck, causing the design to appear shifted and partially missing near the rim, which increases both visual intrigue and numismatic value. And if that wasn't enough, under high magnification, one can also observe what appears to be a repunched mint mark or RPM, where the S has been stamped more than once in slightly misaligned positions, a relic of older manual punching practices before mint marks were incorporated into master dies, and each one of these individual errors, the doubled die, the die clash, the off-center strike, the repunched mint mark, would on their own make a coin highly desirable to collectors, but in this case they all appear together on a coin that fundamentally shouldn't exist, a coin that shouldn't have a wheat reverse, shouldn't have a 1965 date, and shouldn't bear an S mint mark, creating a numismatic unicorn the likes of which the world has rarely seen. And if we go further still, metallurgical analysis of this specific coin revealed another shocking anomaly. It was not struck on the typical bronze planchet used for cents at the time, but on a slightly heavier alloy that includes traces of tin and silver, elements not commonly associated with standard penny production during that era, leading some experts to speculate that this coin may have been struck on a leftover blank intended for a foreign coin or a mint experiment that somehow got paired with the wrong dies, and yet despite all these anomalies, the coin is in remarkable condition, graded as MS68 read by the Professional Coin Grading Service, indicating that the original mint luster is still vibrant and the coin shows virtually no signs of wear, and the provenance of the coin adds another layer of legend to its story, because it was discovered not in a high-end collector's estate but inside a small metal cash box inherited from a grandfather who had worked at the San Francisco Mint in the mid-20th century, and for decades the coin lay forgotten among miscellaneous change, only to be rediscovered by a young collector sorting through the box one rainy afternoon, and the moment this coin hit the numismatic scene, it became an instant sensation, with auction houses scrambling to secure it, private collectors making record-breaking offers, and numismatic scholars rushing to publish papers analyzing its features and theorizing its origin. And after a months-long bidding war behind closed doors, the coin was finally sold in a private transaction for $769 million to a syndicate of collectors and investors who saw not just a rare coin, but a one-of-a-kind historical artifact, a tangible mystery, a symbol of imperfection turned perfection, and its discovery reignited interest in error coins and off-metal strikes, leading thousands of collectors around the world to re-evaluate their own collections in the hopes of finding something equally miraculous. And what makes this story so compelling isn't just the price tag or the errors, but what the coin represents. It's a snapshot of a moment when rules were bent or broken, when a mistake turned into a miracle, and when history, luck, and human curiosity aligned to produce something truly extraordinary. And to this day no other example of a 1965 wheat penny has surfaced, making this coin possibly unique. And while some speculate that others may exist, perhaps locked away in old collections or yet to be discovered in rolls of coins from long ago, this singular piece remains unmatched in value, condition, and mystery. And for those who dare to dream, it stands as proof that the ordinary can become extraordinary, that even the smallest details can hold the key to untold fortunes, and that sometimes, the most valuable things are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to look a little closer, to ask the right questions, and to recognize the incredible story etched into a small circle of copper and tin. And so the tale of the 1965 wheat penny lives on, not just as a curiosity or a collector's item, but as a legend, a mystery, a multi-million-dollar symbol of what happens when history and happenstance collide in the most unexpected way, reminding all of us to never take a single coin for granted, because the next time you hold a penny in your hand, it might not be worth just 1 cent, it might be worth $769 million.